Lam, lam. Bum 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 ba-dum bum 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 ba da da dun 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 da da dun 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 da da bum 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 ba da da dum ba ba dum ba ba dum da 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 ba da 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 bum ba da da ba da 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 ba da 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 da. Here we are going with Facebook and my mighties. Hello. Hello, mighties. Hello, Facebookers. Facebook livers, I guess is the way we put it, huh? All righty. Hi. You're looking great. How's it going? I love to see everyone. Good evening. Good evening from San Diego and Ontario and Hudson Valley. Yes, great food from Hudson Valley. Great dairy. Yep. Yes. Hi from Grand Rapids in Atlanta and sounding chipper. Yes. Hi, Harry. Okay. Yes, I've started. Let's see if we can get my Facebook Live people so I can see what they're talking about. Cape Coral, Florida, and hi from Ontario. I'm actually in New York right now. I'm here for a while to spend the holidays with my family, and it's really, it's cold. As you can see, I'm dressed for winter. It's cold. What was it today? 30s. A little bit around 31, I think it was. I like it. Look, I don't like being cold. Hi from Chico. Hi, Michelle. Middle Tennessee. But I love the change of seasons and with Christmas. And really, to be honest, it's just wonderful to be with my children and my brother and my cousins and, excuse me, old friends. There's just nothing quite like it. So, all right, here we go. My name is Joette Calabrese. For those of you who don't know, I'm a homeopath and I'm here to teach you. I am your homeopathy teacher, at least for now, and every Monday night at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. And for those of you who don't know me, I've been studying and using homeopathy for 35 years. I've been practice for many years, a full-time practice, still full-time practice, but I love to teach this. Why? Because people need to know that they can treat themselves and their families. Yes, blasphemy, isn't it? You can do what professions tell you you can't do. And the reason they say that is because they have no idea what homeopathy is, and you do. And if you're new, you're about to embark on a shift in your life that is going to take you down a path that you will never turn around from. It will take a while for you to understand that homeopathy will cover all conditions. People tell me all the time, I didn't know homeopathy treated that. I used homeopathy for, arnica for injuries. I've used homeopathy for sinus infections. I didn't know you could use it for irritable bowel syndrome or food intolerances or allergies or eczema or depression or Epstein-Barr, or I didn't know it could do that. Well, you have to dig. You got to dig. It's up to you to find that out. And how do you find that out? Well, I give a lot of this information away for free. That is my shtick. Now, I also make a living by teaching, and I love to teach. And so I have online classes. And right now we have our academy that began 3 months ago that is just so delicious for those of you who are my academy students here. I love you all. I'm having so much fun teaching you. I'm just loving it because it's allowing me to go into great depth in teaching homeopathy. But I also love to turn people onto it who've never heard of it, don't even know how to pronounce it. And so I'm happy. Come on in, everybody. It's just wherever you are in your journey of trying to get away from those drugs and all the tests and all of the academy is delicious. Thank you. Yeah, I think so too. I'm having a lot of fun with it. But as I say, you can see someone just said I'm chipper. Yeah, I think it was Harry. I am chipper because I'm doing what I love. And I want you to have that same feeling because when we help others, whether it's ourselves actually for our health, and we can stay away from the synthetic, patented, commercialized, overvalued system that we've been exposed to for all these years. And you can help yourself and your family and your children and your grandchildren and your neighbors and your pets and your livestock and wildlife. It gives you a sense, and I've said this so many times, it gives you a sense of purpose. And what better purpose in life than to help others? While we're on this earth, let's do everything we can to help others. And if we all do that, can you imagine what the world would be like? Thank you, Lisa. I'm so glad. I'm so glad. Loving the Academy, says Monica and Rachna. Thank you. Thank you for giving me the vote of confidence. Because I don't have that much feedback as much as I would love. But we're still trying to pump out a lot of great information. So today we are going to talk about a great medicine that everyone should know about, and it's undervalued. It's underused. This medicine you will find, interestingly, in remote combination remedies. And what I mean by that is if you happen to go to the health food store and you've got hay fever and you've got that sensation like you're clucking in the back of your throat, that clucking sound, you might hear yourself do it or others do it. And it's that nasal, and it's that sensation in the back of the throat, like things are not right and there's something draining or there's something swollen and it just feels awful, and it's usually related to hay fever. You will find medicines that combine this medicine with others. Yet, not very many people use this homeopathically in and of itself, all by itself. So I want you to know this one. And we are going into my Materia Medica, of course. This is what we do every Monday night. We're almost done. We're going to be doing, I haven't decided what we're going to do. We're going to have to follow some kind of a schedule. I haven't quite figured that out yet. So here's my Materia Medica for those of you who are interested, and you can purchase it through my website. And but if you don't want to do that, you can just follow along tonight. And if you don't even want to do that, you might go online and look up. There are free Materia Medicas written by authors of lore, of old times, say, back at the turn of the last century. Because as we know, homeopathy is not new. It's not newfangled. Homeopathy is the medicine we've all been looking for, and it's been around for 200 plus years, used in hospitals and clinics all over the world. And so, but in this country, in the United States, and in some others, it has been, shall I say, kicked out of the club. Why? Why would homeopathy be kicked out of the club? Why would modern medicine not want homeopathy around? Because you see this little bottle here? It costs $9, and this can cure hay fever. And this little bottle in a different medicine this one happens to be Hypericum perfilatum. This can cure extreme pain, tailbone injuries that are very painful, injuries to the after dental work, injuries to the head, injuries to the fingers, to the nerve-rich areas, injuries to the teeth, injuries to the toes, the fingers. Somebody slams a car door on a child's fingers. Of course, that's not the way it used to be. The doors are a little safer these days, but it used to be. That would be very, very serious. And you would use Hypericum because it's for nerve-rich areas, and it will take a child screaming out of tremendous pain down to, okay, they're just a little bit whimpery now. That's why homeopathy is not liked by the market square. That is we as the market square, we as users of homeopathy love it. But for those who have to compete with homeopathy, they don't like it. And you can understand why. No side effects? No side effects? Are you kidding me? $9 and it works? That's why. All righty. So let's get going. Tonight is Wyethia. W-Y. I know. It's Wyethia. 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 Helenoides is the second word. Helenoides. But Wyethia is good enough because there's not more than one Wyethia that I'm aware of, or at least that you'll find in the books, in the more common Materia Medica books. Alrighty, so Wyethia helenoides, and its poison weed is its common name. So what homeopaths have known is that if we use something that's poisonous and then dilute it many times to the 30th, let's say 10 times to the 30th power, then, 30 times to the 10th power if it's 30x, 30 times to the 100th power if it's 30c, 200 times to the 10th power if it's 200x, 200 times to the 100th power if it's 200c. So you see where we're going here. We've diluted, or not, we don't do this. This is done in a homeopathic pharmacy, highly regulated, always has been. This is not black market. Don't let anyone tell you this is black market or that this is not regulated. It absolutely is regulated. The FDA was instituted with a great deal of help from a homeopath back in the 1940s. So let me just tell you that this is legitimate medicine. It's just not well known in the United States. Used to be, but not so much now. So let's talk about Wyethia helenoides. This is a great medicine for hay fever, but not just any hay fever. We're not talking about sweeping hay fever, like, I get runny eyes and runny nose and itchy. No, this is a certain kind of reaction in hay fever. This is hay fever that has an intense itch or tickle on the palate and in the throat and at the uvula. Uvula is a little punching bag at the back of the throat. And it has a sensation that's very intense, very uncomfortable. And so you might hear someone clucking to kind of get rid of that, or kind of, making scraping sounds in their throat or in the back of their throat to relieve this discomfort. When you hear that and you are associating that with hay fever, then I want you to think of Wyethia. Alrighty. In addition, the nose and throat feel dry. I'm reading from my Materia Medica now. In addition, the nose and throat feel dry and scratchy. So this is not for someone who has a lot of runny nose. This is the opposite, pretty much. But let me also say, let's say when we have a keynote, something that is really important to describe a medicine, such as the itching and the tickling in the back of the throat and the palate, that's really intense and it's very clear what it is, then we can kind of play around with that, which means that if someone has that set of symptoms, then if they happen to have watery eyes or watery nose, concomitantly, we can kind of ignore the fact that that wateriness is really not showing up in this medicine, because it's so important that we use the throat, the top of the palate, the upper palate, the sensation of swelling, the clucking, the itching, the clearing of the throat, because that is such a prominent aspect of this medicine. And I want to tell you folks that is true for most of these medicines. We're not looking to fulfill every one of the symptoms to make it fit the person we're trying to help. Instead, what we're doing is looking for the keynotes of the person, basically. What is the person really suffering? What is the most important aspect of their suffering? And what is the suffering that's described in the remedy that is most prominent? And when we find those two or three, if we can find three, then we've really got a three-legged stool upon which to seat ourselves comfortably into this medicine. So it's an allergic remedy. It's for allergies. So I know when I was a child, I remember having this sensation, itching in the palate, after I had only a certain kind of cheese, and it was always Parmesan cheese. It didn't last long, but I remember that feeling, and I remember that wanting to get at the back of my throat that was itchy. I wanted to scratch it. And it only happened with Parmesan cheese. So it's a kind of an allergic reaction. It does not, it does say hay fever, but I don't believe it necessarily must be hay fever, because hay fever is, of course, not really very noteworthy in the dead of winter in the north, right? Just doesn't, pretty much doesn't exist. But the furnace might be on. And if you have forced air, now that could be allergy to the dust from the basement, or a little bit of mold, or something like that, feathers in the bed from the pillow, etc. Hold on, excuse me, I'm going to take a little drink. All righty. Now the itching can be not just the throat, it can also be the nose. And as I said, the throat and roof of the mouth. And a person may cluck, as I said, the back of the tongue to soothe the itching. There is irritation, a feeling of swelling, and a sense of constant clearing of the throat. Sneezing and a dry cough may also be present. So it doesn't have to be only those. We can have other aspects that sound like allergies, right? We can still have that. And this can still be valuable. Okay. Let me just see what we've got here. Someone saying, okay, finding the legs of the stool is the hardest part. I know it sounds like that. No worries. Let me put it to you this way. If there's that itching in the nose, the sinuses, etc., the back of the throat, don't worry about the 3 legs. That's good enough. Try it. What have you got to lose? You get this Wyethia helenoides in a 30C, and you use that twice a day for that kind of symptom that you're treating. Maybe even 3 times if it's really severe, maybe even 4 times in that day if it's very severe, and watch what happens. If it works, you're on to something. If it doesn't work, you haven't lost anything. What, $9? And at some point, you'll know this medicine, and it's likely you'll find someone else to use it for. All right, now let's see what else I've got here. I want to make a point about this medicine. This can be used for acutes, such as an attack of hay fever in which this comes on, attack of itchy throat, attack of itchy nose, attack of itchy palate, etc. Or it can be used for someone who has this chronically. They have it all the time, not every day, all day, but you know what I'm saying. In general, this person is always clearing their throat and trying to get the mucus cleared out, and always uncomfortable and making all kinds of funny sounds in their mouths. So it can be used in a chronic situation and an acute situation. In an acute situation, you're going to use it for a couple of days, perhaps, or just even one day. And if it's very severe, then you can use it just until it's better. And it's very likely that if it's the right medicine, you're going to see a change sometimes after 1 dose, sometimes after 3 doses. Sometimes if it's chronic, it might take 2 or 3 days or so, and you'll start seeing a change. Then if you do see a change and it's chronic, stay with it a little bit longer. But when you're feeling like, you know what, I forgot to take it today, that's your key. That's how you know you've come up with the medicine that's correct and it's no longer needed, at least for now. Now, what happens if it comes back in a month? What happens if the condition returns in a month? I'm going to leave that open, and let's see what people say. All right, I'm going to get to questions. I like 30. 30 is the potency I like best. Itching in the ears would be associated with it, but it really has more to do with the uvula, the palate, the back of the throat, the nose. It's more this area. But if the ears are also itchy, oh my goodness, that's a dead ringer. From honeydew melon, yes, people tell me that from melons. It's the strangest thing that you don't think of melon as something that can be irritating, but yes, becomes treated like yes. Then use it again, says Kathy. Take it again, says Dawn. Nina says start it again. Becky says take it again. Harry says take it again. That's right. Don't say to yourself, oh no, it's back again. Oh, homeopathy didn't work. Yes, it did. It got you to the point where you didn't need to take it for a while. Now you just return to it. This is medicine. Running to buy Wyethia. This is medicine. This is not, as you know, for those of you who are new, I want to make this clear. This is not supplements. It's not vitamins. It's not food additives or food supplements. This is not essential oils. This is a medicine of incredible measure. And this is a medicine that when you need it, you use it. When you don't, you stop. There we go. My husband constantly clears his throat. How to know whether to use sanguinary? Now, that's interesting. I like that question because this is related to a couple of other medicines, especially sanguinaria and lachesis. Now, sanguinaria is definitely the sinuses. We talked about that a while ago when we were in the S's, sanguine area. It's great for snoring and sinuses that are often plugged up, etc., and they can't breathe very well, and it's swollen and stuffy. But sanguinaria can have itching, but this remedy, Wyathia, is so focused on that itching or that tickling sensation that I would go sanguinary is for the stuffiness, the thick feeling sensation of not being able to breathe fully. It's a little more sanguinaria, whereas this one's a little more with the itching and the sense of tickling in the throat. Histaminum. I find this is my experience with histaminum because I've been a person who's had allergies, and I've used histaminum for myself and many others for over the years. Histaminum is a wonderful medicine for when you're in a pickle, when you don't know what else to do. It can be quite valuable, but I don't believe, at least in my experience, and if someone else has had this experience, I would love it to be shared. In my experience, histaminum helps at the moment, but in the long run doesn't carry it all the way through. I'm sure I'm going to stand corrected, but that's been my experience as a person who's had allergies and a person who treats a lot of people with allergies. All right, let's see. Let's see what else people are saying. This is my mighties. Let's see what folks in Facebook Live are saying. I've been using Sanguinaria 200 for sleep apnea and snoring that wakes me up with a horribly dry mouth and throat. Yes, I hope it's helping. That is what it's basically for. Absolutely. I get that itching when I eat eggs. Yeah, it's allergies. That's what this is all about. Food intolerances, hay fever, allergy to feathers, allergies to dust, etc. Now, we do have other medicines that go deeper than this. This is not the end game to allergies. This is going to help with this particular little condition arising around what I've just described to you. But we have medicines that go even deeper and uproot the propensity for allergies to even be in existence in a person. And I have an entire course on it called Allergic. And it's an online course, it's ongoing. And if you happen to be one of the folks who are in my Gateway study groups, you will get, and if you buy together as a group, and most people do, you'll get a tremendous discount on my courses. So there's more to it than just this medicine, but this can help a great deal. Histaminum, more broad instead of specific. Yes, it is more broad. It is. Histaminum is a little bit more broad. So you don't have to have specific symptoms. You just have to have a histamine reaction. Okay. Histaminum never helped me. Me neither, Dawn says. Okay. And help with my dog allergy. I'm really glad to hear that. So it helped with dog allergy. Great. And then the other question was, what about lachesis? How is it involved with lachesis, or how is it associated with lachesis? Lachesis is a throat remedy, my friends, and it has a sensation of fullness and swelling. And I guess I didn't make this clear enough. I do have to make this clear. This medicine, Wyathia helenoides, also has a sensation of swelling in the throat, and so does lachesis, but lachesis does not have that intense itching that this does, or that tickling, or that, especially in the roof of the mouth and the back of the throat, the uvula. That's the difference. So now let's say you've got someone who's got all of this stuff. You don't know what to do. Just give it a try. Just try it. Try it for a few days. See how it goes. Sometimes we find that a medicine that seems right, but it's not exactly right, is the kind of medicine in which, when we use it, we get some results for a short period of time, and then the condition reverses again. It goes right back to where it had been. Don't assume that means the medicine didn't work. It means the medicine wasn't exactly the one that you needed. Or another way to look at this, and this is actually even better, is look now what you're looking at. What is happening after the wrong medicine? You took the medicine, it helped a little bit. Now it's not helping any longer. Now what's happening? That is what you need to pay attention to. What is happening now after having used the seemingly correct medicine that actually stopped acting after a short period of time? That's what you're going to be using for your symptoms. And that will, it's as though the medicine is, even the so-called wrong medicine will give you what you needed to look at. So, do you see how these medicines don't slap us across the face? They gird us. They're kind, they're polite. They teach us how to use these medicines. They themselves are so intelligent. Why would homeopathy be so intelligent? Because it's God's medicine, my friends. It's not synthetic. It's not patented. It comes directly from nature. It just means it's pharmacologically, mathematically, and very intelligently diluted to a certain level, the level of curative action. Okay, so somebody just asked me. There was something I just saw. What? Let's see if I can go back and find that. Would lachesis help an ex-smoker with postnasal drip and constant throat clearing? I would not go after the fact that the person's an ex-smoker. It is what it is. It's a postnasal drip with constant throat clearing. Postnasal drip, constant throat clearing. It's just what I said about Wyethia, didn't I? Beautiful. Does it have to be someone who's not an ex-smoker? Does it need to be someone who is an ex-smoker? Does it mean it needs to be a cow? Does it need to be a man who used to smoke? These are the symptoms. Don't complicate it. So that's where I want you to go with this all the time. Okay. Euphrasia worked for my son's itchy eyes. Yes, like amazing. Wyethia worked for the tickle in my throat clearing. So glad you shared it before. Yes, you bet. You bet. It's beautiful stuff. Let's see what else we've got here. I don't want to miss people. I'd like to be able to answer these questions, but it scrolls down so quickly that sometimes it's hard for me to catch them all. Let's see. Yes, we've experienced that with histamine. Histamine I go to when I can't figure out better. Yes, thank you, Nancy. Very well thought out. When you don't know what to do and it's an allergic reaction, sure, why not use histamine? Absolutely. Go ahead. And I would use it in a 6 or a 30. Yes. All right. Thanks for clarifying. Histamine never helped me, says Dawn. And Bovista 200. Bovista is an excellent medicine to get going on food intolerances and allergies. We also have calc-carb. We also have tuberculinum. We also have serinum. These are all incredible medicines. Sanguinaria has not helped my husband with snoring, clearing his throat all the time, and sleep apnea. Has not helped. Well, if any of these symptoms are present, with it doesn't have to be 100% of the time. It could be that these symptoms present from time to time. This could be something that could be useful. We also mentioned lachesis. Okay, I answered that one. Histamine has been great for me with June hay fever. Good. Very happy to hear that. I like to combine histamine with another remedy. Yes, and you know when it helps amplify things, then yes, I agree with that, Nancy. I have found that can be helpful. Okay. What about a cough? Well, if there is a cough, certainly, but you want to have that group of symptoms that I'm describing. Itchy palate, okay? Itchy throat, sensation of swelling in the throat, sensation of the uvula being too swollen or itchy or tickly. That's what we're looking for here in order to use this medicine, Wyethia. Have taken Allium cepa and it has uprooted my seasonal allergies. You bet, Francine. My guess is that if anyone remembers Allium cepa, it's associated with runny nose and allergies. You see how we have to do this? We have to use the symptoms that are presenting in order to determine the medicine. It's not every time. There are some times when it's as simple as Bovista is a great food intolerance remedy. Bovista is a great allergic remedy. Yes, but if you really want to get tight with this, make sure it's not calc-carb or tuberculinum or serinum. Okay, so we want to Sprezzatura. Leanna. You bet. Sprezzatura. I love you guys. I swear. It's just too much fun. I love it. Um, mucus most of the time. Will this medicine work? If this medicine will work, if the mucus is, yes, collecting in the throat, causing itching, and it's feeling swollen, you have to go with the symptoms I've just described. If it's just mucus in the throat, it might work. But if you have more than that, and it's all of what I'm describing tonight, or a few of those, now we're on to something. So, my friends, it is 8:30 Eastern Standard Time, and so I'm going to say adios for now and come back to you next Monday. I've got a group of Gateway students to teach right now, and I'm looking forward to seeing them, and I'm looking forward to seeing you. So, give it a try, folks. See what comes of it. I don't think you'll be unhappy. And I want you to remember that if you go to Boron, this is the name of the manufacturer here, Boron, Boiron, online. Boron, Boiron. I'm pronouncing it in the American fashion. If you go to Boron and you order Wyethia, because they manufacture it, this is the homeopathic pharmacy, manufacturing pharmacy, and at the end you put my name in the little box, just write Joette, you'll get a discount. And it's a great way to just, save a few dollars here and there. And I do not get kickbacks. I want you to know that. I do not have affiliate programs with them. I do not do that. That's not why I do this. I'm not teaching you so that I can make money from you buying the remedies. I want you to do this for yourself and your family and your community. And so with that, I say, God bless all of you. Mwah, and I'll see you next week. Bye now.